Okay, guys, we'll get started. I'll hand it off to Alex. And if you want to ask questions, use this mic so that we get it both in the recording and so that everybody in the room can hear you as well. So if you need the mic, raise your hand and we'll pass it to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sanjeev, for start. And so today we will be, sorry, my slide. Yeah. So today we will have a demo and like tutorial and also challenge on this method called DiCoW, which is like, as Samuel showed before, it's approach to target speaker ASR. And it simplifies the method by not conditioning on embeddings, but on diarization signal. And I will reintroduce it once again. I will be mostly guiding you through the collab. There will be also Lukas, who is, I guess, still at the lunch. So once he joins, and if you have any question, ask me or him, or maybe, Dominic is not here, but Mark is here. He also tried to reproduce some results, so he's quite familiar with it. So here is the link, and here is the QR code. So please, everyone, try to scan it or copy, or you can just go to GitHub, my nickname, and JSALT tutorial, open the challenge, and change the GitHub to collab. Oh, so Lukas is here. If you don't have any question, just ask him.
Lukas, I'll give you this mic in case you want to say something in the middle.
Okay, who has the weights and biases set up? Okay, half of the people. So for the other half, there will be also tensor boards, so you can use it directly there, or in the meantime, you can also set up the weights and biases. Does everyone have it open? Can I switch to the collab, or anyone needs still a minute? Okay, I see Honza still opening the notebook, so let's wait for Honza. Okay, everyone, settle? Okay. Okay, so you should see on your screen something like this. It's a Colab notebook. You can run it in Google Colab, or you can just download it and run it on your machine, or you can use the Lightning AI, whatever you choose. It's up to you. If you want to work with Colab, just be sure you have the GPU accelerator enabled. So you just go here, click here, and change runtime type, and select this Tesla 4 GPU. And then you should connect to the environment. So just let's run a few cells. And it will just say that it's not authored by Google, so just say run away anyway. And now you should get some GPU. So who has GPU already? Okay, let's wait for all the people to get some GPUs. And in the meantime, I will try to introduce the challenge and the method itself. So if you are thinking about training on the test data, no, it's not allowed. And be sure to have the GPUs. You can also train it on your local machine on CPU. For example, on MacBook Air, it's running. You can train something, but it's always better to have GPU. So we will be using like Whisper Tiny model, which is 70 million parameter. So whatever accelerator you use, it's up to you. So the competition info. So here are the prices. So there will be 3 places. There will be a leaderboard, which I will show you later. And basically, the first place would get infinite amount of beers for one evening. So try hard, and then not high-five the ground. Then for the second place, we have 3 beers, and for the third place, we have 1 beer. And so once you get your hypothesis, there is this EMMA leaderboard, which we will be using for the whole JSALT. And the deadline is 4 p.m. So you have like 3 hours for that. Oh, yeah, 3 hours. And once you will be submitting, there is this token that you must use. Otherwise, you are not allowed to submit. So let's go to the leaderboard now. So you should, if you click on the link, you should see something like that. I will get to in a second. So there are already like 3 systems. The first one is our method. So it's like 5% TCP word error rate. So I hope no one will beat that. That's like a baseline for you to see how good your system can be. Then there is one system that Dominic trained, but as he is not here, he's banned from the challenge. So if you do something and follow the instructions, you should get somewhere to the 30s, 40s TCP word error rate, which means like your system is working, but doesn't really solve the problem. And then if you just follow the baseline recipe, you'll get to something like 53. So you should be aiming to something like 25 plus, 25, 40. If you get the number in that range, you did a pretty good job. And for the submission, there is just this form. So basically, just make sure you check here this checkbox that you are submitting Libri2Mix test clean. Fill in here your name or whatever nickname or what you like, and then some identifier for the model, and then the submission token. And here you upload the JSON that you created in the notebook. There was one question, so.
Yeah, what was the link that you showed us that was
Sorry, about collab? Yes. Like how to get GPUs or?
No, how to open, so I have to get the link.
Yes. To GitHub to collab. Okay, let me do that. So here I'm on the GitHub. You are here at this step, right? Are you here or where are you? Okay. So now you just go and change the URL to collab, like this. And once you click enter, you should get to Google Colab. Okay, who has the GPUs? Okay, like half of the people. So I guess we can continue. So there are a few tasks that you should do. Just clone the repository, prepare the data set, fine-tune the model, evaluate it, and submit. Just 5 tasks. And here is table of contents. So we'll firstly introduce the method, given some intro to multi-talker and target speaker ASR. Then we will set up the environment, follow up by the data preparation, and then we will start training the model. There are few bugs in the code, so you will have to fix them firstly, so you get something reasonable. And then there will be just decoding and final submission. It should take you like an hour to finish it, and then you can do whatever you like to make it better. So there are just few things that I would suggest you do firstly, so we skip the intro right now. Install the environment, clone the repository. If you want to use TensorBoard, then do this pip install. And afterwards, start downloading the data. With the data, it's quite tricky because Google Colab has some bandwidth. And once you get over that bandwidth, it will ban you from accessing it for a whole day. So I made up 5 copies. So let's split the room to 5 sections. Let's say there is 1 section, 2nd section, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So try to split yourself somehow and use these 5 different links. So let's say this group, you use the first link. this group, second link, third link, fourth link, and fifth link, okay? If for any...
Who else going to use the first link? 1, 2, 3, how many, 4?
We are like 35, or you
There
are...
about 35 of us, so it should be 7 each.
7 each.
So again, the first group, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay. No, not you guys. You made it down. 7 later. Group 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's okay. Group 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I count 8, 9. Okay, 2 less. So, okay, group 3. Hands up and I'll pull a few hands down. Let's keep the 3 in the back. 4, 5, 6, 7. And, okay, that should be our answer. Okay. Group 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me a couple more. Oh, you want the 6? 1 more. Okay, 7. Yeah. Okay, that's 7. Group 5. Alicia, you already joined? Okay, you are. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So if anybody new shows up, they're in group 5.
Yeah, thanks. And if for any reason you won't get the data, there are these links that should work for anyone. It's just slightly slower because it's downloading the data from the BUT. Like these links should work, but it takes like 10 minutes, and for these it's 5 minutes. So if you want to be safe, just go with these links. Yes, and so my environment is still installing, so we'll just let's wait for it, and I will start the downloading of the data. So I will skip TensorBoard because I hate it. And I will clone the repository. I will prepare the data folders, and I'm starting downloading. So please do it. Have everyone do it. Yeah, back to the challenge. So here is just table of contents. So as I said, there will be this intro, then we will prepare the data environment and start training. And if you need any more info, or you feel like you don't understand something that I said, just ask me. Or you can also check these resources. So there are 2 repositories. One is the training repository, which we just cloned and we will be using. And the second one is the inference repository, which I will later show you Gradio app that we have built with that. There are also 4 papers. So this is the journal paper where you can find just everything about that method. And here is our recent paper about MLC challenge. So you can also check that. There is the Gradio demo that I mentioned and the leaderboard that we'll be using. Okay, so who understands the multi-talker ASR stuff? Nobody. Samuel's fault.
I just reported I already got error from the first link when trying.
Okay, so first link is already gone. So none of them is working. Oh. Okay, so. Okay, so just use the links here. Huh. I have it also locally. If everyone is running the code locally, I can give you just USB stick and you can copy that. Or you can try downloading, but not everyone at the same time. But I guess stick with that. Just uncomment this and run this. That would be safe. So again, who understands what is multi-talker ASR? Okay, slightly better. Still someone's fault. So basically the problem is you have the input mixture where you can see there are multiple speakers speaking. Here it's demonstrated by the colors. So here you have 3 speakers speaking over each other. So there are some overlapping regions and well, you don't know what they are talking here. But goal of the system, which is here the multi-token ASR system, is to produce transcript for each of them. So basically for the speaker one, you want to transcribe just this part of the input mixture and maybe mask out or ignore the rest. So there are multiple approaches how you can do that. Samuel also mentioned that. So you can do it with the source separation. So you have your input mixture, and now you split it into few streams. So let's say stream 1, stream 2, and stream 3. So you would, for stream 1, you would extract just this part, and there would be silence, ideally. For the stream 2, similarly, and similarly for stream 3. And then you can just apply standard ASR, because you believe that your stream is already clean, and there is just that speaker in it. Then you can have also end-to-end multi-token ASR model that can be, for example, this serialized output training. So you would just serialize your output and firstly transcribe speaker 1, then speaker 2, or speaker 3. And what we will be focusing on today is an approach called target speaker ASR, where you have this mixture, and you get some speaker cues or speaker embedding or characteristics, and you condition your ASR model by these cues. So if you want to transcribe this, you take some characteristic about this region or this speaker, you feed your model with it, and it should produce you the output for the speaker 1. Is that clear? Does it make sense? Yeah? Okay. So there are few approaches like how to do it. I believe most of you know I-vectors. Who knows I-vector? Okay. Or X-vector. I guess all of you must know it because Olda was introducing it last week. So you take the mixture, you take the I-vector, you take some neural network, and you train it to output the speaker 1. Sounds reasonable, right? The problem here is the data. You don't have that much data so that you can train the model from scratch, and it will perform very well. So what can you improve? Comparing the system 1 with the system 2. What changed? Yes? Sorry? Yes, exactly. You take advantage of already existing ASR model and fine-tune it with, again, the I-vectors or X-vectors. So this is one of the approaches. You take Whisper, you feed some X-vectors, and you fine-tune it for target speaker ASR. But who was paying attention to Samuel's talk? What is bad with this? Yeah? No? Yes? So for Whisper, original Whisper, you are taking the mel-banks or like f-banks, and you are feeding the Whisper with it. And you have to come with how to feed the X-vector in. You can pre-embed it, or you can concatenate it with every embedding, or do something like that. So what is the problem with this approach? Yes, Balaji? Yes. What is the problem with this approach? I saw your movement with hands. It will work perfectly. Okay, Samuel, what's the problem with this approach? You take Whisper and you condition it with X-vector. Yeah, so I ask everyone and no one knows the answer. yeah, it doesn't generalize that well because like X vectors, okay, if you have million hours of data and you have very nice ResNet or whatever X vector extractor, then it can work, but you don't have this. You have maybe thousands of hours of data, and your embedding extractor is maybe not trained also on million hours. So it doesn't generalize that well.
I would maybe say that the main problem is that the data that you fine-tune Whisper on, if in the data that you fine-tune Whisper on will be 100 different. I should speak into the microphone. So if the data that you fine-tune Whisper on would be, let's say, just 300 different speakers, then it can simply memorize those 300 different X vectors that comes in and say, okay, if I see exactly this X vector, I know which speaker it is, and I will recognize, I will output speech just of this speaker. But then it may not generalize for new speakers. So you would need fine-tuning data of many speakers in order to generalize in the way that now I know that if I see X vector that looks, that is somewhere here in the space of X vectors, then this must be the input speaker. So it can overfit exactly to the speakers in the fine-tuning data.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, does that make sense? Who thinks it makes sense? Who agrees with Lukas? So who disagrees with Lukas? Oh, also, you disagree with that? Okay. Yeah, so, and what is different here in the figure 3? So what's the difference between figure 2 and figure 3? Yes? Yeah, exactly. You don't rely on some X vectors, some like representation that's stuck into just one vector, but you rather take the original input audio. And basically what you do, you'll have your input mixture, and you concatenate before it your speaker enrollment, which would be, hello, I am Alex. That would be the enrollment. And then there would be a mixture. But what is problematic with this? Yes? Yes, that's one problem. And the second problem? Do you know? Or okay, you can continue. Again, it is also data problem. And the third problem? If I would be ASR model and I see something like that, what I would do? I would just transcribe, hello, I'm Alex, and then the input mixture. The ASR model is not used to such a task. It has to learn everything from the scratch. So if you start training like that, you would start getting something reasonable, but your model has to relearn and like mess up with the original representations. And
I mean, here you mean that it should skip the enrollment and,
yeah.
and only start transcribing the second part.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you have model such good as Whisper, and you want to apply it for target speaker ASR, you perhaps don't want to destroy the model first and then just fine-tune it. You want to keep your model working all the time. So, what shall we do? Or what do we propose to do? Yes? Condition on speaker? Yes, exactly. Condition rather on diarization signal. So instead of relying on some X vector representation or some enrollment, just try to rely on your diarization. Your diarization will tell you, okay, my speaker 1 is speaking here, and maybe suppress everything else. Try to separate the speaker inside the model. So this is what we proposed in our system. The original figure that you've seen which is this, might be quite complex. So let's try to break it down. So there is this input mixture. You now have some diarization system. So what comes from the diarization? You have per frame activities of each speaker. So here you can see in frames 0 to 4 or 1 to 4, the green speaker is speaking. Then the red speaker is speaking. And then the blue speaker is speaking. So I want to now transcribe the speaker 1. So what will I do? I will take this mask, and I can feed the whisper with it and transcribe it. Does that sound fine? Yes, it sounds just fine. You can do it. And the code as it is now will do exactly this. And you have to modify it to do the STNO conditioning. So the STNO is mask that is saying you for specific speaker, which would be here the speaker 1, it's telling you where the speaker is speaking, so the target speaker, where there is silence, so no one else is speaking. When someone else is speaking, it might be multiple people, but not me, and where the speaker 1 is overlapping with someone else. So you can see here that, for example, in this 4th frame, there is overlap of green and red speaker, right? In frames, oh, there is a mistake here. Yeah, there should be other speaker here. And then you can see there is overlap in these frames. So red one is overlapping with the blue one. Does it make sense, this representation? So it's richer than just saying, here my speaker is speaking. It is also saying there is someone else speaking, or my speaker is speaking with someone else. Or there is just silence. So you have these 4 classes: silence, target speaker, non-target speaker, and overlap. And what we do now, we take this probabilistic mask and feed whisper with it. And the question remains, how do we feed it with it? What we can do? I want to hear some ideas. How we can feed this mask into whisper. Yes?
Could you first process, well, if whisper only works in the audio space, you can modify whisper with that. So take the audio first, apply the Boolean masks, and then give it that.
Yes, exactly. That's like most straightforward approach what you can do. You can just mask out the audio. This will work, but not very well, because then you have this overlapping regions. And what you should do with the overlap? Should you just suppress it? Then you are missing the speaker. Or should you flip it? You don't know what to do with it. So for that reason, we propose these FDDT layers. Here is equation for it. These probabilities are just per frame probabilities of these 4 events, like silence, target speaker, non-target speaker, and overlap. So what does this equation say? So what is it? Yes?
With the probabilities, you basically choose which linear layer to use.
Yes. If it's like one-hot encoding, it just choose. If it's probability, then it blends. So it's convex combination of 4 transformations. Here is your original embedding, and here are 4 transformations with biases. So if you would look at it from the PyTorch perspective, you have 4 linear layers, which you apply to your input, and then you multiply the output with the probability of, for each frame, by the probability of corresponding class. Does that make sense?
Are these just linear transformations and actual implementation, or activations in this layer? So no activations in this layer?
Sorry, I'm missing the...
No. Activation. There is no
no. It's just 4 linear layers multiplied by some convex combination of them. Okay, so we have these FDDT layers. So what we do now with it? Uh-huh. Well, you can like then pre-process your per frame probabilities to match your temporal resolution. So if you would have something like zip former, you would just subsample first the probabilities or upsample them. But here we follow this, that all layers you have the same resolution. So what do we do with that?
I guess that the question is also maybe the diarization frame rate has to be the same as the frame rate of Whisper, or if it is not, you can resample it and just you have to align it. Yeah.
So like in reality, you would just take RTTMs and from them you would create these STNO masks. So what we do with these FDDT layers? Just to give you some context, this is original Whisper encoder, and this is decoder. So it's encoder-decoder model. And here is the input mixture that goes to the model. Yeah.
Can I do shrink it and maybe switch to the bright mode so that we can actually see?
How do I do that? How do I switch to? Sorry, where? This is
right next to the search.
Yes. Okay, great, thanks. Is it better now? I can look at it. So you have encoder and you have decoder. So what is different here from the original Whisper? Yes, tell me. You must see it. What's different? Okay, what's different? Yes? Yes, good observation. We will get to that. But we will skip that right now. But what's different in the encoder? Yes?
Plug in the mask, the FDDT, and then...
We plug this FDDT layer that we introduced here in this equation. We plug it to all layers of original Whisper encoder. So now there is a question, where should you plug them? What to do with them? And these are some ablations that we have in the paper. And if you are just lazy, just plug them everywhere and believe the model will learn it. Okay, so I guess we covered the model itself. There was someone also mentioned that there is the CTC decoder. So who knows what is CTC?
And I know what is CTC, but I don't know how to speak about CTC. But maybe just to get the still better idea here, I think that there is still important thing is how things are initialized. So here you can realize. So again, we have this encoder. Whisper encoder. Whisper encoder is basically sequence of transformer blocks. Each transformer blocks makes some nonlinear transformation. So it takes the input, and each transformer blocks makes some nonlinear transformation of what the previous layer outputs. And now what we do is that we just at the input of each of the transformer block we prepend this FDDT transformation. So this FDDT transformation can transform the input of each block depending on, for each frame, it can be basically transformed. So for input for each frame can be transformed by different transformation depending on what the diarization says, right? So basically, in the sequence, the input of each transformer block is a sequence of some embeddings, and now we can transform each of the embeddings in the sequence by different transformation depending on the diarization. But now if we would just randomly initialize these transformations and we would plug them into Whisper, then we would break the Whisper completely down, because like the first FDDT transformation would just completely randomly transfer the features, and the Whisper would output complete nonsense because it would be confused of it. But we can, of course, initialize all these transformations into identity transformations.
I wanted to ask.
And okay, I should have asked about the thing. I said that already. So if we initialize it to identity transformations, then the Whisper works exactly the same way as before. It ignores the diarization input and works exactly the same way as before, and so that there's the same data flow in Whisper, but now we can start training these parameters so that we can actually start learning this transformation and saying how would you transform the input so that the Whisper can do even something better. And in fact, I'm not asking about that thing, but what we do is that we actually, in the very first layer, we actually initialize the transformation in such a way that they are initialized to identity, except for what corresponds to non-target speech and what corresponds to silence, and in that we somehow initialize the weight, so the matrix of weights is initialized to some not identity transformation, but to some small diagonal small values, so we even suppress the values. So the input to the first transformer layers is basically attenuated, and we even saw that this already, even before fine-tuning the model, it actually turns already this Whisper to something which actually does a reasonable job on the target speaker ASR. It starts actually recognizing already just the speech of the target speaker. So without any fine-tuning yet, it already does some reasonable target speaker ASR, and then we fine-tune those transformations, and we fine-tune actually all the parameters in the Whisper so that it starts making use of the diarization information.
So the transformation would be, for example, this. It would be diagonal with some value like 0.1. So if you apply this transformation to any input, it will just suppress all the values. So it's the same if you just multiply it with 0.1 constant.
And they are
This way, you can learn much more how to suppress each individual component of your embedding. So you can suppress some dimension, and based on that, your classifier then easily learn how to classify what is speech and what is not.
And that just for the biases which are still in the affine transformation, those are always initialized to zeros, and we actually use just diagonal transformation matrices. We don't even use full transformation matrices, as it seemed to be sufficient and even better.
Okay, so who has the data now? Okay, great. I also have them, so who has any problems downloading the data? Okay, so what's the problem here? Yeah, so just go to the cell below, uncomment it, and download it from here. Anyone else having problem downloading the data? Yeah, come in. Yeah, so go to the cell below, and here just uncomment these commands. And yeah. Anyone else having any problem? Jo, nestavujte to z toho driveu, ale dole jsou linky na Nextcloud, tak přímo z toho. Aha, yes? I guess it's fine, yeah. Because he's learning for his state exam, so. Lukas can help?
I tried to do this visualization stuff, but the audio plot, play audio
Okay, just download it. There is one more cell below.
Is there somebody else? There are people raising hands.
So there is a presence sheet, and there is also leaderboard. So if you are not in the leaderboard, you are not here. So once you have the data, you should unzip it, because it was compressed before to make it faster. So it will take some time before it's uncompressed. So any other questions? Is there anything unclear? So who has submission ready already? Who's training? Nice. Good job. Let me check. Yes, so you are not paying attention.
No, but I don't know what this means. Like, are we supposed to do something?
Yeah, it says what you should do. I will get to it. Yeah.
Is there someone who is running, who is not running on Colab? Because Mark was running on the, how is it called? Yeah, I know. So is someone running on the other platform also, or and everybody else is running on Colab?
You. Okay.
No, just the Mark found out that he's missing some of the requirements were not there, because I guess there would be something default on Colab, but so, he's installing it already.
So Mark, there is also requirements in the repo, so you can install the whole requirements. Sorry, that's my fault. For the Google Colab, there is requirements created here in the Colab, just writing it to do and then installing. But if you're running it on your local machine, just install requirements that are in the repository. So if you go to the repository, the TSASR Whisper, there is requirements.txt. So my data is unzipped. Next step is we are using this HOTC. There's this nice library which was originated at JHU, if I'm not mistaken, Sanjeev. Was HOTC at JHU? Yeah. So it's JHU library, and it's quite nice. Balaji doesn't like it, me neither. And like it's quite nice if you work with audio. It creates these cut sets, which is like manifest of what is in your data. So you have there some transcript, you have paths to the audio, and you have some other additional metadata. So here for this demo, we'll be using it. And so if you have this preprocessed manifest, then you can run, like load the manifest and just run train.set.describe, and it will give you just some nice statistics about your training data.
Maybe you could give some description what it is, just rather than just saying like this is this library, and maybe you could give some hints on what are the manifests and what you will find them, because there are a list of files and labels.
So they are basically, as if you would look here into the download link, there are free data repositories. So this is just compressed and collected all the waveforms. So you have here train waveforms, def waveforms, and test waveforms. This is the Libri2Mix dataset, which you get by just taking 2 recordings from the Libri speech, which again, JHU people made. You take 2 recordings from the Libri speech, and you somehow just shift them in the time, and then sum them. This way, you mix the signal. So you get something where 2 speakers are speaking, and they are most of the time overlapping. So it's a synthetic data set, but it's quite nice if you want to test out your model, if it's doing something. And if we'll listen to it, and it's not that easy to transcribe it. So we'll be using today this. I will be using 100-hour version of it. So we can also like train, and we doesn't have to have the H100 GPUs, but we can run it on Google Colab, which is like 8 years old GPU. So you can also run it on your CPU. And to do HOTC, it has all these methods, like you can pre-process the data, you can augment the data, you can combine all the data sets. As I said, I'm not a fan of it, but we are using it, and I guess here are some people that really love to work with it. By that I mean Dominic, who's not here. But if you have any further question, I think Samuel is using it also quite often. Samuel, are you using LOTC? Yeah, so if you have any questions regarding LOTC, just ask Samuel. Yeah, so here are some. Yeah.
Maybe just the comments on the, because what you said, you are loading these manifests, and there is some changes in the manifest. So the manifests are basically some JSON files which are just the lists of the files that we will be training on. So this is just a list of waveforms or cuts from the waveforms that we should train on, and list and the labels themselves. So just transcriptions of what is in each of the training data.
Yeah, and there is some terminology that you have cut set, which would be just some set of cuts, and this one cut is like your training sample. So here you have this manifest which said this is the cut set, and here are the cuts that I will be using. And what we are doing in this cell is basically replacing the path in the manifest to the local path where we downloaded the data. Is that clear? Carol, do you have any ideas? Carol is also a fan of K2 and HOTC, so if you have any questions, just ask him. Sorry?
Can you show one anything?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so here we have it. So you can also see that there is 100 hours of speech, which corresponds to that we created the data from Libri2Mix 100, or Libri speech 100 clean, which then corresponds to Libri2Mix 100 clean. So here is the sample. So to get some sample from the train cut set, you just do train cut set 0, and you can see what is there. There is supervisions, which say like, I have some supervision for this data. In the supervision, you can find the speaker ID and, for example, what he said with additional metadata. So here we would have 2 speakers, one speaker 1624, whatever that means. It's his ID, and here is transcript what he says. And here we can see the waveform.
You can even show directly to the training.
Sure.
Actually visualizes just these are it's basically record of.
Yeah, so this is the record of what you can find in the cut.
And yeah, it basically says there is some cut which starts from some time and has certain duration, and it is cut from this particular audio, and its supervision is, and then you see the transcription of the supervision. So basically this single cut really tells you from this recording you cut something that starts here is this long, and it has this particular transcription.
And so now
He had of touching it there with the tip of his tongue made Annie think of a cat that had been at the crate. I've been hoping to call with Mrs. Flemington to pay my respects, but I've been away a great deal this season, and
Okay, once again. So
with the habit he had of touching it there with the tip of his tongue made Annie think of a cat that had been at the crate. I've been hoping to call with Mrs. Flemington to pay my respects, but I've been away a great deal this season, and
So basically, this is the training data, what we are training on. So who is able, sorry? Yeah, they are very rude. So
can the native speakers easily listen to each speaker separate? Because I was trying to focus just on one, and I would have a hard time to transcribe it.
No, I think you can focus. You may not get 100% accuracy, but you can get 80-90%. Actually, play it again. Let's try it. I'm going to focus on the woman.
With the habit he had of touching it there with the tip of his tongue, made Annie think of a cat that had been at the creek. I've been hoping to call with Mrs. Wilmington to pay my respects, but I've been away a great deal this season, and
So who got it correctly? Did you get it?
Yeah, I got about 60-70%.
Yeah.
Reading some story and something.
Yeah, so basically, there are some metrics that we'll be evaluating, and Sanjeev basically was following just one speaker. He's human. He was listening to thousands of recordings. He's author of LibreSpeech, so you might know what is there. And he got 60% accuracy or 40% water rate. So if you get some number like 50, it doesn't really mean your system is that bad. The data itself is just so very hard. Even for me, I cannot get 60. I guess I will get 40% correct. So this was just the demonstration on what we are training on and what we will be evaluating on. So there is the DiCoW model that we trained, and we built also the demo app. So if you open it, okay, I have it open. So there is this demo app. It's using older version of our model, but it's still working reasonably. So you can just go here, upload the audio or whatever audio you have. You can also use microphone, and once it's uploaded, you can test the system what it will produce. Who is using it right now? Okay, no one else, so I don't know why it's so slow. Let me refresh it, maybe. It seems like my internet is just wrong right now. Okay. So
with the habit he had of touching it there with the tip of
and if you submit it, it goes to our server and it transcribes it here. So here you have speaker 0 and here you have speaker 1. You also have the timestamps. So if you check it, what would you say? Is it working reasonably, or? I don't know who remember it from the previous. But basically, if we train the model on like real data, also the simulated data, and we use like large version of the Whisper, we will have the accuracy or word error rate 5%. You can see it here. So our best system has now like 5%. If we further just fine-tune on this data, we can get to 3%, which is like state of the art, but it's synthetic data, so I mean, you should not really care about synthetic data.
Because in the before session you mentioned, someone mentioned that you have to perform one pass per
speaker, yeah.
transcription for one speaker.
Yeah. In this case, what we do, we batch it. So basically, for each speaker, you still have to do it like independently. We have a model that also do it jointly, but here we do it independently and we just batch all the speakers. So we run diarization, we get activities for each speaker, we construct these STNO masks, and then we run the inference for each speaker.
So, I mean, you could feel like this is inefficient because now you have to recognize each speaker separately, and it would be somehow not as efficient than transcribe it in only once. But on the other hand, if you think about it, that Whisper transcribes, it's autoregressive decoder which decodes one word after another, and this way you decode exactly the same number of words, like if there would be single whisper running, decoding the whole six. So computationally, it is the same expensive as
it might be even less expensive.
Possibly even less, yeah.
For the autoregressive decoding, if your transcript is long, then you have to look at each step and also cross-attend, so it's quite expensive if you do like serialized output training. But you have to run multiple times through the encoder, which might be the additive compute here. Okay, so just set it up this environment variables, which just point to the data. Please don't change this. I will find out if you change the tests for train or otherwise. And let's go now to the training. So firstly, we'll just check if everything's fine, if our environment is working. For some reason, it's slow. I don't know. It's probably just fine for me, and it's for you, and it's internet problem for me. So here is the config that we will be using for decoding. So it says use Whisper Tiny, which is the 70 million version of Whisper, and decode on this toy set cut set that we created here. So we took the development data, we took 128 samples from it, and we created the new cut set. So basically, we just take subset of the dev data. Depending on your like statistical feeling, just try to choose some part of the data which you would feel like this is giving me good estimates. I'm not lying myself. And because this will influence how much time you spend on decoding and how much time you will be training. I think something like 188 or 256 or 64 would be reasonable. I will let it on you if you choose to believe that you have good statistics from 2 samples. I don't know why it's not working. Is it running for others? Okay. So you would imagine that there is the decoding, and afterwards, here you would get, when you run this cell, you would see something like the model being initialized, data is being loaded, and then there is something like evaluation started, and it goes over all the data. Then it finishes, and you will see some CPU error rate. I think you will get something around 100. Who's getting 100? Who's getting more than 100? Okay, who's getting less than 100? So just Bolaji was able to run the decoding. Who was able to run the decoding? Okay. So I will give you some more time. And I will comment on what we can see here in the config. So we will just set here the toy set cut set for both training, testing, and the dev. So the loading of the data is smooth. And we are disabling here the BF16 because those are all the GPUs that doesn't support BF16. So I got disconnected, so I will have to rerun the stuff, but you have it on your PC, so you should be fine. Then it's saying like you will use the batch size 16, so we will decode 16 samples per one step. We'll be using 4 data loaders with some prefetch factor, and like we'll pin the memory to just make it faster. So, and here, if you want to use the weights and biases, just set up here your entity. If you are using some project and sharing with others, if not, just comment it out. Yeah, here it's like Hugging Face Home where it will store your models. Here is this project that you will see in weights and biases, the run ID, and here are just some paths that we need to set up to override the base config. So if you run that, you should see some word array. Then there is this nice toolkit, Meet Eval from Paderborn. So Mark, you can now introduce the toolkit for all the people. So it's pretty much like very nice toolkit if you want to analyze what your system is doing. Let me open the... Okay. So here is the GitHub. You can see there are a lot of metrics. So you can even compute something like diarization error rate, word error rate, TCP word error rate, which Samuel introduced before, or he introduced CP word error rate. There is also this ORC word error rate, which is optimal reference combination word error rate. So here you doesn't care about speaker attribution. You just care on if your hypothesis makes sense, like the words that should be in the output are in the output, but you don't care about speaker attribution. So they have here a few examples, and what is the best? They have here this output, which is like HTML web page, where you have multiple sessions. So you can see we have here some session 32, 26, and we have here the CP word error rate, TCP word error rates, and if we select some session, we can see the output of our system and the reference. So let me select some region. Okay, something like this. Let's start. Okay. So you can see at the very bottom of the screen that there are 4 speakers. There is speaker 53, 54, 55, 56. So in the reference, we have 4 speakers. And this is probably meeting. So there are 4 speakers who are speaking to each other. So let's imagine this is John. So John is saying, oh, sorry, speaker 1. And here is output of our system. So on the left side, in each column you have the reference. On the right side you have hypothesis. So there are 3 colors here. Here we can see 2 colors. So who can tell me what is the blue color? Yes, exactly. If you would look here into the legend, you can see that blue color is insertion. So whenever your system outputs something that's not in the reference, you get the insertion penalty. What's the orange one? Here. What's the orange one? You had your hand like that. So what's the orange one? Yes, or I don't know if it's orange. Well, yeah. So the orange one is substitution. And let me find out. This should be like red, and that's deletion. So you can see there is something here, and there is nothing in the hypothesis. So this means there is a deletion. So you are penalized for not providing any output, even though in the reference there is. So if you have any multi-color ASR system, this is very nice to see what are the errors that your system is doing. And you can open it per session. You can also see like TCP versus word error rate. Oh, for example, here, I can see, there is so much blue color in it. Let's zoom in. Okay, this is not that segment. So you see that most likely your system just started hallucinating here, saying, yeah, community readers post things on there sometimes too. Oh, so here it's just switch the speaker. So you got penalized because your speaker attribution is incorrect. So here you got deletions, and here you got insertions. There are you can also, with the blue regions, find some hallucinations, but I believe here there are none. Yeah, so it's very nice too. I recommend to use it.
You can show it now here if you run the decoder.
Sorry?
Did you run the decoder?
No, it crashed for me, so I have to restart everything. So I will just guide you through, and then I will run the decoding. So if you run the decoding, then you will produce this X folder, and there will be this experiment, and there will be test, 0, water rate, and for each session, there will be a folder where you can see a reference, hypothesis, and this visualization. And you can also visualize it here in the notebook. So if you run it, you will get here the output, and it will be exactly the same as we've seen in the HTML. If you want to make it bigger, there should be some button here. If you click on it, there will be something like expand to the new tab or something like that.
View full screen.
Sorry?
View full screen.
View full screen. So who's able to view it in full screen? Lukas? Sarah? Just 2 people? So where are we stuck? So, sorry? For the 128 samples, it should be like a minute. And do you have GPU? Yeah, TPU. TPU. T4 GPU. You must have T4 GPU. Otherwise, you are using TPU, and the code is not ready for TPUs. Sorry? Yes. Because it's not accelerated on TPU. If you would have something like JAX, then it should work. But you have T4 GPU and it's running. How much time did it take?
Did it report?
It should be visible there. Here. Yeah, so it should be like half a minute, the decoding. So let me check.
It's 81% already.
And can you click there? And yeah, just left to it. You are not using GPU. Just change it to the GPU. Yes. I was trying to emphasize it in the beginning. So if you scroll to the very beginning, please, everyone who didn't change to GPU, just change to the GPU. Otherwise, you would be, like, you can train something, but it will take some time. But we still have quite a lot of time, so if you don't mind, just do it now, and you will just download the data, then you can start decoding. So who's on the GPU? Okay, most of the people, that's good. Does anyone need some help? Yes, I'm coming.
I can't tell if this is because, so I ran it up here, and now it's training again, but I accidentally started it again. So, and I think I lost all of.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Because the loss had gotten down pretty low, and then I stopped it.
And then you run the.
And then.
Let me see what it says. No such. Oh, there is no direct. You don't have the checkpoint. Sorry. So once you train something, and you got a model, and you want to decode, then you have to change here in the decoding the path to the model. So it will say you like, this is the checkpoint 200, this is checkpoint 400, and you will get the model. So just make sure you load the correct model. And also for the training, if you are able to run the decoding, you can see that there is a model config. So there is Whisper Tiny, and for some reason, you are using biases only, and only target speaker STNO mask. So that's one thing you need to fix before started training. If you don't fix it, you will anyway get something reasonable, but not the best model that you can. So if you see the instructions, there is this, are you paying attention? So it says we are not using FDDTs properly in the config. If you open this file, and go to the target speaker amplifier, which is here. What you can see in the forward function of it? What's happening there? Shall I zoom in a bit more? So what is happening in this forward function?
How many people work with PyTorch?
So who's familiar with PyTorch? Who has run any training? Okay, most of the people. So what's happening on this, this row? So what's happening on this row 253? Yes? Yeah, to the device which is GPU here. Great. What's happening on the 254? Can you continue with me to interpret it for others?
It checks if we are using only the
Yes. Yeah, so if you would see the config, there is like use bias. So we'll get here. There are also this condition if self-use target. If you, again, go to the config, you can see that there is enabled, there is target amplify use target. So we'll get through this condition. And what's happening on this row?
So you mask with the targets by...
So if you look just at this, so what's happening?
Yeah, you multiply the targets, the linear transformation matrix.
This is bias only, so you take the vector.
Oh, yeah, the indexing.
Here you take the VAD mask, which would be the target speaker. So it will just say where your target speaker is speaking. And what will this do?
Masking on the...
Yes, so basically, if you have your time dimension, just to some frames, you will add this vector, and for other frames, there will be 0. And this is added to the original hidden states. So what are you doing, in fact?
You're using the target's linear transformation.
Yeah, we are just adding some bias to the frames where we believe the target speaker is. So that's what's happening. And the task for you is to fix this method to do the proper FDDT, which, if you scroll up, a bit more, is this equation. So now you have the bias-only part. So you can imagine there are no weights. You have just these biases. So you have to add the weights, and you have to add all the classes, not only target speaker. If you know how to do it, just do it. If you not, there are 2 tricks that you can do. You can check the Git history,
Or you can just simply go to this link, which is the repository that we are using, go to the same file, and just copy-paste the code from there. If you are there, I would be happy also if you just click on this tiny star there. If you like it, if you don't like it, just create an issue and say, this is stupid, I don't like it. And then you are ready to start training, but in fact, you are not. So what is the other problem? What is the...
I don't know why, but yeah, somebody has been messing up the math.
Yeah, someone just tried to make some chaos, as Bolaji likes to say. So added the date to the extraction of STNO mask. Sorry. Yeah, so here. So someone, I don't know why, decided to add here 17 June 2025. Why would someone do that? So your task is to fix that. So you just remove the numbers. But my question is, here, do you really need to remove that? If you are just using the target and the bias, do you really need to remove these magical constants? Not really. You would just basically multiply the mask by some constant, but you will still add the bias with just multiplied by that constant. So in fact, it will just make the learning rate on the, not really learning rate, but it will just scale your bias. So you will like easily learn to bias towards the target speaker frames. Sorry? Yes? Sorry, once again. Sorry.
We have to restart the mention change to the source code, like Whisper CTC. We have to reset the kernel to apply the changes and then recompile everything.
No, just stop the training and just run it. It's Python, so you don't have to compile anything. It's interpreted language, so whatever you change, it will just make the changes. Any other questions? Okay. I didn't want to do that, but Lukas convinced me that I should introduce some bugs. So if you don't like it, it's his fault.
I wasn't saying bugs, I was saying that unfinished implementation, but you went then even further.
Yeah. So once then you can start the training. You should see that after like 200 steps, it will start decoding on the toy set that we made. And you should see something like 0.8 TCP word array, then 0.6, then 0.5. And eventually, after like 1,000 steps, you should get to something like 0.4 if you do these fixes. But if you check the leaderboard, there is like 0.38. So you should do something more to beat that. So here are the things that you can do. So if you go here, there is this rainit encoder from, which just says, I will not use the Whisper encoder itself, but I will replace it with something else. And the something else is the Whisper encoder that was pre-trained with the CTC objective. So if we go further back to the figure, someone mentioned that there is this difference, that there is this CTC head. So this CTC head is just the decoder that's on top of the model and just on the encoder, like on the embeddings on top of the encoder, do some self-intention to reshuffle them, subsample them, have the projection, and now just compute the CTC loss. So from each frame, you can predict whether it's blank or whether there is some token. So this CTC decoding is much faster than the cross attention and autoregressive decoding with your decoder. And if you have these two decoder branches, you can also combine them and get run the joint CTC attention decoding, which should give you 0.5%, maybe % more. And also, if you start with this pre-trained checkpoint, you should get also a better TCP by just training, because your big propagation signal gets slightly easier to the FDDT layers compared to the original model. So you just basically, there was this download from the Nextcloud, so you just copy that and replace that path with this Nextcloud path, save it to some file, and then use that file here to reinitialize your encoder. Then there are some tricks that you can do, like play with the batch size, learning rate, warm up, weight decay. If you have some experience with training, you can maybe see, okay, maybe this learning rate is too aggressive, this batch size is too big, too small. So please just try few things. I would suggest try the different seed. No, I mean, if you play with these hyperparameters, you can get 10% better just playing with them. Yes, the other thing is you can firstly just pre-train the FDDT parameters, left the original model being frozen, and just train these FDDT parameters so they suppress the signal, find some solution, and only afterwards start training the whole model. Another trick that you can try is to not apply this FDDT layer on all encoder layers in the Whisper, but apply it to only some of that. Let's say half of the layers or 2 layers. In our experiments, we've seen that just the single layer is enough. So if you replace, by default, there is -1, which says apply to all layers. If you replace it with 1, you should also get quite reasonable solution. And it will be much faster to train. You can also adjust the CTC loss if you have this pre-trained model, and you can force by that just say that you are more believing the CTC branch than the decoder and backpropagate through that branch. Then, as I said, you can do the joint CTC attention decoding. By default, there is greedy decoding, so you can also do beam decoding. Just by doing this, you can get 3–4%. Well, absolutely. And if you want something more challenging, this is what we found in our recent paper that's not public yet. So if you steal that and retrain our best model, you can get paper sooner than we. So what we've seen that if you start injecting some noise into these STNO masks, it will make the model generalize better, and basically it's giving us 1 to 2% improvement. You can just inject there some Gaussian noise, but you can also be more clever and try to augment the diarization mask itself. So basically drop some speakers, drop some regions of the speech, change the speaker, or something like that. Then there is also one thing where the FDDT layers are applied. So if you take a look, they are applied just before the first transformer layer. But what's before the first transformer layer? What's here? There is something missing here. What's there? So you have original signal, you do some sampling with some nonlinearity. What is there then next? Positional embedding. And what happens if you do this suppressive initialization of FDDT parameters, and you do it after the positional embedding. You also destroy the positional embedding. So what you can do, you can move this FDDT layer before the positional embedding. And this will give you also an additional improvements. And yeah, there is even more challenging thing, which is make TSASR instances aware of each other. So now I just decode one speaker, but I don't know about other speaker. I don't know what the other instance of the model decided to decode. So in some scenarios, it can happen that you basically decode twice the same thing. So here you can design, you can be creative, you can design anything and just force it to not transcribe the same thing twice, or force it to let the other branch know that I am transcribing it now. You can see some of it in the section 4.5 in our paper. We have some more methods in our paper that will be public in like 2 months, maybe month. So I will let you be creative. If you find some things working very well, I will be happy to discuss it with you. And you can also use LLMs to post-process the outputs, but nah, don't do that. I don't like LLMs, but I use them. Like this was generated with LLM, so yeah, and that's pretty much it. So then you just run the decoding. Here you select the checkpoint that you believe is working the best. Run the decoding, it should take like 7 to 10 minutes. And then you generate just submission. So you collect all the hypotheses for each file and save them to a single file called mysubmission.json and get your beer, well-deserved beer. So once you get that file, you just download it here. You go to the leaderboard. You set here you must use the token that's in the file, and you will upload your mysubmission.json, and then you submit. So if you are using the weights and biases, you should eventually see that once you do the fixes, your model can get to like 31 TCP word rate, but after like 10K steps. But you have just hour and a half now, so I would suggest that you aim to get something that's performing the best after like 2 to 3K steps. Yeah, so now it's up to you what you come up with. So if you have any problems, I will be just here, or if you have any questions, something was unclear, just ask. So any questions now?
Yes, I have questions.
Yes, sure.
So I was not like lagging but behind setting up things, so I don't know where you told us how to solve this, but I am not, but I can't, but I try to go to whisper.ctc.
Just go here to folder, just here. TSASR whisper. Did you clone the repository?
Yes, I did.
So just maybe wait a bit. Yeah, now go to the source, models, and whisper CTC. And you can update it there.
I'm not sure what refers as FDDT. It's hard to read this code.
You should find, there is like a target amplifier, so you should find the class target amplifier. Yeah, this is it. And then there is forward function, slightly below, and you should fix that. There is a link to the GitHub, so you can go to the GitHub and just copy that code.
Go in the GitHub? Because I have it open, I just don't really know enough of what to look for.
So there is source.
Which one's source?
Yeah, this one.
Sorry, my computer's being really slow.
Mine too, so I think it's the network problem.
Yeah, I think I'm having a problem. Do you have the GitHub open? Maybe it'll work for you. Well, I have the it worked.
So source, the models, and whisper CTC.
Okay.
And it should be there. So you should be able to get like 31 on the test set. Right. If there are any questions, Lukas is here. So for now, we have a winner with TCP 90%, so I think you can do better than that. Just please use your name when you are submitting. This is TCP water rate. Yes, because I and Dominic, we are disqualified. So what is your TCP?
Co nejvíc je tady to, když spekuluje na tím, proč máš tady non-target, ale už to vidím, non-target jinak než
Yeah. Yeah.
Přemýšlím, kolik lidí opravuje tady tohle.
No to je vlastně jenom rozfaktorizováno.
Tady, když vynásobím toto s tím, když přinásobím toto, tak to je všichni ostatní a k tomu přinásobím ještě 1 minus toho, takže totokrát toto je celé a ještě to je vlastně PS, pozitivní, ne, negativní PS.
Tohle je P. This is 1 minus
To
PS.
označené krát anyone else je PS negativní.
Yes.
A potom k tomu ještě přinásobí jedenkrát tohle, že co je talent.
Yeah. And maybe I didn't mention that the deadline is 4 p.m., but I think I mentioned that. And I will be strict. If it's 0-1, it's not valid.
I don't have an error, but I was wondering, you know how you talked about the initialization with the diagonal matrix? Where in the configs is that happening?
Yes, if you go to the base config, like configs, there's folder configs. Then there is base.yaml. And there is this section.
Is diagonal one?
Yes, this is saying if it's full rank matrix or just diagonal. And then there should be something like a non-target speaker. This is disparagement method, and that's saying that this is this suppressive method, but there should be also the scalar. Well, let me find it in my code. In the older version, it's hard-coded in the code. So if you go, so there is this non-target rate. So this is the value that will be set on the diagonal. So you can play with that. You can set for the experiments that I was running recently. Let me just move it to the other display. Yeah, so here I have 0.1, but for the bigger model, like 0.5 works the best. Sorry? Yeah, it's if you don't download this pre-trained CTC checkpoint, then it should be like 38, 35. But if you, then it should be like 12 or 8. Let me check. So if you have also weights and biases, you should see the CTC loss, and it should be quite high at the beginning. Sorry? So did you set up the weights and biases? Then it asked you for the token. Sorry, I missed that. One thing that you need to change to log into weights and biases is here in the config, you should change these reports from TensorBoard to weights and biases, like V, A, and DB. Afterwards, it will prompt you for your token, so then it will start logging there. So who has something better than 50 TCP water rate?
50% going once.
No? No one? Better than 60? Okay, great. Sure, sure.
We're having trouble finding the corrupted date.
Yes,
I tried to
it's...
search up 2025 and it's not showing.
if you go to the STNO, try to search for STNO, or a mask, just...
It unfortunately doesn't let
Soft
me
mask.
search, so I have to search.
Sorry, soft mask. Soft underscore mask. Yeah, this is the method. And here you can see 17th June 2025. 17062025.
So are we supposed to...
Remove the additive, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Actually, all of the above run correctly, but this one is
Did you download the data?
I feel I download this one.
And did you download the other?
Yeah.
All of them? Yeah. Okay. Did you enter it? Okay, great.
Yeah, everything was smoothly.
Yeah. Great. Let me see. Sorry, go further. So there is train cut set missing. Oh, you have the data. Sorry, if you go up, you created this toy set cut set, like even higher. Yes, here, when you were exporting the manifest there, it used the path from the TS-ASR repository. So just add one more cell here. Yes, add one more cell. Just do %cd 2 dots. Like this is 1%. Yeah, like this. Just run it, yeah. Like with the space and just 1%.
1%.
Yeah, and space. CD space 2 dots. Yes, like that. Let's run it. Okay, so add there explanation mark.
What is
It's this symbol. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one, and remove the %. Also the other one. Okay, now run it. Okay, now run the cell below. Okay, and also now run this. Also, sorry. Yeah, you have to do this. Just copy this. Here. Yeah, just remove that. Yeah, remove that. Yeah, remove that. Yeah. Now paste it there and replace the TS-ASR with 2 dots. 2 dots. Yeah, like that. Then now run it. Okay, now run the second. Yeah, this cell. Okay, now run this cell. Now run this cell. This.
No. Yeah, it's still pointing. Basically, you have to point to the data without this TSASR. Let me do it once again. So just do this. This. Yeah, do this. Do this. Yeah, do this. This should, no. One more time, sorry. One more time. Yeah, and now. Yeah.
Okay.
Now. Now, again. Content data. Can you open the data? So you have it downloaded inside the...
Oh.
You basically have to fix the path so it matches where the data is. Yeah, okay. Where are your submissions? Sure. Sorry? Let me see. Yeah. Yes. But you should download it with the curl. Like how, if you go, just copy that. Yeah. Yes?
I don't know why I'm getting like an error. I don't know how to switch it to tensor.
Okay. So you're in, basically, I think the problem is in the manifest. Can you scroll up a bit more? When you were downloading the data, did everything went smoothly?
Yeah, we have the same. Yeah. I don't know what all this is.
And like above that? Did this, can you download this file? Is it in the folder here? Go to the very bottom, yes, it's there. Did you change anything in the config or?
I just changed like
Oh, and you changed the local data send and whisper CTC, right? So what did you do exactly?
I copied the forward from the GitHub, and then
Yes.
I got rid of the date.
But you copied just this part, or you have to copy the full function? Check. If you haven't signed the attendance sheet, just tell Jirka over there and he'll bring it to you. Anyone? Okay. Thank you.
I am running the training.
Cool.
And I'm getting...
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's working?
Yeah?
Yeah. If I stop this, like, just like...
Yes, but don't do this. Wait a bit more.
Okay.
Does
it still save after the evaluation?
Like the checkpoint, all the checkpoints are saved.
Saved, okay.
But if you stop it now, you'll have to like write to restart from and continue from that point if you want to DiCoW now. So I would suggest you let it keep training for like 1,000 steps or 1,400, then you stop it, and then you DiCoW.
Okay, thank you.
Good?
Oh,
Good.
and oh, it's here. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So who is training? Who is training and getting something? Who is stuck somewhere? Everyone who wants to train is able to train? Okay, great.
That's not helping what?
Oh, your code is frozen? No, that happened also to me. And you are training. Great. Oh, it looks like you, looks like you did it correctly. That you are starting from the from the pre-train checkpoint, and you change something in the code, so your loss is quite good from the beginning.
Ještě chtěl něco Petr Pálka, tak jo, to bude se.
Also, if you have any problems fixing the FDDTs and the STNO, what you can do is just check out to the main branch. Did anyone discover that you can do just git checkout main? No one? Like, if you are paying attention, here when you were cloning the repository, we just check out to this JSALT 25 demo. If you would just comment this, you wouldn't have the problem with the errors that I introduced. And if you still have any problems recovering from these errors, and you want to be sure that your code is running correctly, just do git checkout main. And then remove these lines, and this should be the baseline method. Yes?
It's way too slow. It's not going to run. It's not going to. At this point, it's not. It's not. At this point, it's not.
Yes, this is the speed you can get.
Well, I can't do it by 4 p.m.
Sorry?
But I can't do it by. I can't do anything by 4 p.m. if I'm going to do this tomorrow.
Nah, like you can do evaluation, let's say every 500 steps if you want to speed it up. But I think after like 1,000 steps or 1,200 steps, you should get to some solution, which should be a reasonable solution. Like 1,000, 2,000 steps, somewhere in that range, you should get something reasonable. Like if you are able to get any better GPUs, please use them. And please don't use the bigger versions of the model, just tiny version is allowed. Prosím. A měl jsi to puštěné tady přímo v tom? Tady je ta buňka nahoře. A promiň. Tady je ta instalace a tady pod tím jo, tohle.
Já jsem tady udělal, protože...
Jo, akorát ještě odkomentuj, máš tam to procento, když dáš pryč. Jo, tak tohle by se ti mělo spustit přímo tady. Jo, no, to musíš pustit předtím. Jo, přímo ho uvidíš tady v okně. A bude ti běžet jakoby pořád. Jo, na testkace.
Tam je nějakých 6 000 examplů,
jo? 3 000 s tím, že máš v každém 2 speakery, takže... So for the submission, there was a question. For the submission, we should use the test cut set, not the toy cut set that we are using for development. So please, the final submission should be decoded on the full test cut set, which is like 3,000 samples, and you have two speakers for each sample, so it should set something like you have 6K samples that you are decoding, and it should take around 8 minutes to decode. 8 minutes or something like that? Okay. So for the tiny model, it's 8 minutes.
Modifying this
instead of the
to enable.
Yeah, so this would just change the greedy decoding to the beam decoding.
Yeah.
So you would search the like wider space, and
I would put it in here or something like but is there a separate? I would add a separate.
Yeah, here. Yeah.
Encoding
No. just put it into the
Just put it in
training.
training? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
You're welcome. So some people were stressed with the deadline 4 p.m., but I think it's still like hour. But if you like decide you want the deadline to be 4:30 or 5, let's say we can have a vote in half an hour and we can prolong it. So just think about that if you want to prolong it or you want to go outside to enjoy the sunny weather. It means if you win, it's... Is anyone getting something interesting and wants to see if it's correct? Good. Oh, let me see.
Well, now it's working. Actually, no, it's not working.
Ah. So if you want to contextualize yourself, how good is your solution? So if you really optimize it, after like 500 steps, it should be around 50. After 1,000 steps, it should be around 40. That's like tuned solution. So if you get to something like that, there is potential for improvement. I think you can get to 25. But this is already some tuning and knowledge of the code that I employed here. So if you are somewhere here at 80 and 60, you are doing fine. If you are below me, show me what you did. And also, if you like tune it for the Libre2 mix and you follow the best setup that we have in the repository, you should get 4.4 on test clean. And there is one interesting word from Martin Kotzor. He will be here. So he's training also this DiCoW-like model for serialized output training, which Samuela showed you. And if you do that, you can get even to 3%. So if you want really the best results, just go to his repository and replicate his run.
Does decoding have the CTC weight echo in the same place in the training?
Sorry?
I'm trying to play around with
yes.
But would this go up?
Yeah, I would suggest go with something like 0.2.
Okay.
And then if you go to the config here, base, you can see where these, you see, here it's below the decoding.
Okay.
And there is also length penalty. You can play with that.
So should I put that, it shouldn't be under training here, right?
No, no, no. It should be under decoding. Yes? Shall I go?
The first one was the training config file. Download the CTC file. Do I just add it like there?
Here is the rainit encoder from, and you replace the null with the path to that.
For the test config, are these the right cut sets or do I need to change this?
There is this evol cut set, and it's pointing to the test cut set.
I'm done.
You are done?
Out that I don't have more GPUs.
You're run out of the GPUs?
Yes, in this, like what I started, I was not running anything on GPU today.
Yeah.
It was just in this 1 hour, it kicked me out that I'm done.
So be careful. If you are using the GPU and you are not utilizing the GPU, there will be a penalty. So in some time, you can run out of your GPU allocation, which is like 3 hours a day. But if you're not using it, it will go just directly to the zero in like an hour. You can see your GPU limit here if you go to the connect. Yeah, I also run out of the GPUs. So there, once you click on the RAM and disk, you should see here how much GPU time you are left. So be careful about that. What you can do then you can create multiple accounts and you will have the GPU. Or use the Lightning AI. Yes. Come on, show me.
I'm not sure. So
Could out of memory. Good. You have to decrease the batch size for the evaluation. There is a field eval batch size. So you have to go to like 1, maybe. If you are doing the beam decoding with that, then you have to go down with the size. Sorry? The beam, you are running the beam decoding, or?
Yeah.
Yes, but this is the greedy decoding, I believe. Yeah.
I didn't change anything.
Yeah. So you can then change the greedy decoding to beam decoding, and then to the beam join the decoding, which should give you some additional improvements. Does anyone have something better than 50 on the def now? 50. 50. 50. 50, you have 50? Do they have 50? 51? So, on deaf.
Sanjeev has 51.
So 40? Great. Balaji has 40. So what numbers are you getting? 60? And which step? Then stop it and rerun it. Because you just do... Or just ban people with PhD. Yes. Sanjeev suggested that you doesn't count. So if after like 500 step you are not getting below 60, then there is likely something wrong in the code. So you should try to fix it. And what you should fix, how easily you can fix it, just do this git checkout main. This will revert you to the main branch where everything is correctly set up. Just do this, and then remove these lines from the config. And with this, you should get below 50 in like 600 steps. And maybe if you want to speed it up, you can make the warm-up steps like 500. And with the preheated CTU, you can also use CTC weight like, let's say, 0.5 or 0.4. This should also speed up the training. So who thinks has the right solution but still is not working for him? Okay, I'm coming. Please just raise your hands, I will come. And I'm not biting. Jo, teďka ti... Rainit from, pokud máš stažený, ne, zakomentovaný, jo.
Já myslím, že tam není složka content.
Lomeno musíš ještě před to
ale já
dát.
nejsem na kolabu.
Jo.
Jsem na našem klastru.
Jo, to si musíš přepnout na tu lokální cestu k tomu.
To je kde?
A nevím, kde to běžíš.
Ideálně by to nebyla absolutně.
Mělo by to teoreticky fungovat i s relativní cestou. Tak zkus relativní. A s tím tensorboardem na lokálním klastru nevím. Jo, a teďka máš kolik? Jo, tak zkus to nechat třeba ještě 200-400 kroků, pokud se to nezlepší, tak zkus ten git checkout main a přepsat ten config. Some more questions? No one wants to know the seed that you should use to get the best result? I know it. It's 26,561. Sorry? I don't remember the number. Yeah. In the meantime, when you are training, you can also play with this app. So you can go to the microphone, and if you are sitting next to someone else, you can try to simulate something and just submit it and see if it works. It should also be multilingual, so you can try like speaking in any language other than English that you know, and just try it. Oh. There is some null. You are testing it right now, and does it work? Sorry? I think it should work with 4 speakers if like your voice is different. But if your voice is very similar to someone else and you are really overlapping, then even with 2 speakers, it can fail. And also it depends on the quality of your mic. If you have far field data, it's much harder. So how many meows did it transcribe? Maybe you can do meow, say something, then meow, and maybe then... It might be also because there is length penalty, and it's basically enforcing the model to decode as short sequence as possible. So it might be because of that. Yeah, also might be because of... It's under the table. It should be... Oh, it should be... Oh, it's not in the first row, but I think it's in all others. I will come.
For the CTC, it's just if you specify the weights, it starts using it automatically, or it... Sorry? The CTC just depends on the model, or it uses CTC automatically to use the model, or you have to specify the weight?
Like if there is 0 weight, it doesn't train the CTC part. But for the decoding, you also, if you set it to 0, it doesn't do the joint decoding.
The config doesn't have anything, so it's by default 0?
By default, there is 0. If you go to target speaker ASR to the configs. Then there is a base config. And here you can see that decoding CTC weight is set to 0 by default.
And training?
I'm also curious what numbers are you getting now?
No, I'm not getting anything. I was trying to make many changes, and I tried to do data augmentation, but it depends on some Matilda data.
Yes, the augmentation doesn't work right now.
But I am going to comment the flag or this to apply spec augment.
You can try it. Yeah. I think it should give you some benefits, especially when you are training on clean only. It should do something. Yeah. So, like basically doing some reverberation or speed perturbation or like spec augment is also another approach that can make your model better. And as it's almost 3:30, let's have the vote now. So who wants to prolong the deadline by half an hour? 2, 3. Who wants to prolong it by an hour? 1. And who wants to end in time? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's all of us vote. So who wants to prolong it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So who wants to stick with the original deadline? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we are sticking with the deadline at 4 p.m. No, you're right. There. So do you have solution for that?
You can check the results till tomorrow, and there will be another.
1%. Okay. That's a good point. But I would maybe make it less strict. Like 1%, 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 1%. Just, okay, 3 it's too less. Yeah, so maybe 5. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the deadline is officially prolonged. I think the hard deadline is like 5 p.m. And for every 5 minutes that your submission is late, you get a penalty of 1 point. Once CP water rate, your score will increase by 1 CP water rate. So please, when you are submitting, just put somewhere the time that you submitted the system. I can't find it in the logs, so don't try to trick me. And the negative penalty doesn't work.
Do you know how I can delete this? Like this was
I think it's fine. You can keep it there. Yeah, good job.
like for every submission, I can just add a new.
Yeah. I will have to clean it from my side, and I don't want to mess up with that. By the way, good job. Yes? Okay, I'm coming.
I was trying to call the CTC head, so I created like the directory, and it's like here under the TS-ASR folder, but it's still telling me that there's no such file or directory to like.
Because here you are using absolute path, and it's not really, so it should be content/TS-ASR.
You have to write in front /content.
Yeah, and that's just slot. Yeah.
This should work?
Yeah, this should work. Okay.
And so I have to change that here as well, then I have to make this like
Yeah,
content.
yeah, the full path. You can also click on that file once it appears here and just copy the path from there.
Does it have to be the path to the file or to the folder?
To the file itself.
Could it also be like a models.savetensors file? Or
Yes. And that was your question, or?
Yes.
Okay. Yes?
Sorry, this is like the line. I'm getting some weird error.
So the checkpoint that you are using doesn't exist.
Okay.
So just check which checkpoint you want to use and replace the path to that checkpoint. You're welcome. Yes, this is not supposed to happen. Okay.
I realized that if I was willing to, if you give me 1 more hour, I think I can get it quite a bit.
Okay, so I challenge you. Just out of the challenge, I challenge you.
I actually want to enjoy the summer.
Yes. Just you should see exp folder in the TSASR. There is exp folder, and in there you should see the ls mix timing. And here you have all the checkpoints, so you can just go to the checkpoint and copy the path to model.savetensors file. Sorry, I will just pause here.
But I didn't exactly install the same.
Yeah, I think problem is this. There is you have different transformers version. Yeah, you should downgrade to the previous version because like we have slightly updated code, but it supports only 43. The version that's in the repo, yeah, in the repo there is 41. Yeah, you're welcome.
Nefunguje mi to. Už mi to 2krát spadlo.
Tady se můžeš dívat dopředu. Tady je nějak moc grafik. Ty máš nějak moc grafik. Trénuješ ten large? Jo.
To je Google Colab.
A trénuješ large nebo který?
Large.
Ve trojku. A máš nějaký číslo už? Máš už nějaký čísla?
Ono to beží mi to pol hodinu, takže ak ešte 3 minúty vydržíš, tak sa nejaký idem. Ale na tých 256 example, tak to vyšlo, no.
A i s V3 large, jo?
Jo.
Pro V3 large tam musíš snížit learning rate trošku. A on tam je original recipe, když vlezeš do GitHubu, tak tam jsou configs. A tady je train, ICAS, table 1, final models, model comparison, SSP. A tady by mělo být Libri LS Mix Turbo. Tohle jsou jakoby optimální hyperparametry. S tím, že tady ten train cut set použiješ jenom ten 100 clean.
Jo. To je to, čo som ti písal, že mne to po tej jednej epoche, tak mi to proste, sa mi to netrénovalo, takže som znižil len learning rate a pravdepodobne proste na niečo hodne podobné. A teďka už to vypadá, že je to OK.
solve the empty JSON?
I think it just wasn't trained properly. It didn't have like one, the CP word error rate was like 9.98. It generated some.
I think it mostly generated just empty hypothesis. And that was the error that...
During the eval during training, or
Then, if you decode with that, it should be fine. Thank you. So Rohan is winning by now. You should try hard to get better number than him. Yes. And all the PhD students, PhD and postdocs. Well, I don't see Bolaji in the list. And if you decide you still want to, improve your model, whatever you submitted, you can continue training. You just said here in the config, you would here set in, just copy this rainit from to the training config, and then you would basically start training from that config. Or you can also put into the training restart from checkpoint or something like that. You can find it in the base config, and this will also load like the optimizer state and just continue from the point that you stopped the training. And also, if you're already done with the submission and everything, you can also check with meet eval what your model is doing. Where is it failing? So you just decode, and where there is this function with meet eval, you can just put there a path to something that you already decoded. Just replace this with the final decoding, and you would ideally see like two speakers, and what I believe will be happening, like both of them will have some parts transcribed same, which is the problem that I was commenting on here, that you want to make TS-ASR instances aware of each other. Because this is like how highly overlapped speech, so basically they are both speaking, so it's quite hard to distinguish who is speaking. Yes, you have to download it with the curl, like same as in the cell above.
I have to download it with the rest of the code?
Just go to the Google Colab. Please go to the Google Colab, and if you go up a bit more,
Oh yeah,
bit more,
I think I know what you're talking about.
there was the cell where you were downloading the data, right?
Yeah.
Even higher, higher, higher. Here. Sorry, down, this. So you just do this, but instead use the link to the, that's there. So if you want to submit on time, you should maybe start decoding now. But I would suggest you rather fine-tune your model for a few more steps and submit maybe a bit later. Because like let's say if you submit it 20 minutes later, it will be like 4% TCP word rate. Which if you look at the results right now, that's still like not that high, not like such a difference. So it's up to you. Jo, ale prosím ne s tím large modelem, nebo klidně to tam submitni, ale budeš diskvalifikován. A je tam nahoře úplně? Jo, v Kolabu. A je to EMA 25. EMM velké A 25. EMA 25. A je to tam v tom Kolabu nahoře. EMM velké A 25. No, like as Sanjeev suggested, there will be just penalty every 5 minutes that you submit later, you'll get 1 TCP word array. And the hard deadline is 5 p.m. Yeah, so what is the value that you change it to? Okay, that's reasonable number. So basically, the warm-up is telling you like how steep is the curve of learning rate. If you have the weights and biases, you can see the graph there. So ideally, you want to start with some slow transition of your projection. You don't want to just jump somewhere with like high learning rate. You want to warm up the model, start moving slowly, and then hit some learning rate and keep on that and just slow down also again. I think something like 1,000 or 500 should be reasonable. And I think also if you want to converge it faster, you can increase the learning rate, but I wouldn't go with something higher than 1 to the 10 to the minus 4. Because then it starts to diverging. And there is also the like learning rate multiplier for the FDDT layers. So you can also play with that. So basically your model can be learning with learning rate to the power of -8. But you can train just these FDDT layers much faster, let's say with the learning rate to the -4 or something. Sorry? Yeah, it's in the config base. There is something like multiplier. If I'm not hallucinating, it should be there. So you can try, for example, to the -4 and learning rate multiplier of 10, and then it should be quite stable. And also you can play with weight decay, because now it's set to 0. Yeah. So if you want to increase the learning rate, I would also suggest you decrease this learning rate multiplier. Should I refresh the leaderboard, or you don't want to feel the pressure that there are some numbers? Okay, I will do the last refresh. And there, oh, we have here this number, but he's using the large model, so he's disqualified. So if you get now to the 0.52 or below that, you will still win. So try hard. Sorry? Yeah, 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 yeah. So you don't need to rerun the decoding again.
You know where it stores it?
So can I see the log? So this is the test prediction.
Yeah.
Is it really?
No, I started doing this thing, that's here.
Yeah.
But then there was one that ran here at the end of the training loop.
Yes.
That one?
If that was on the test set, yeah, you can use that one. And you should.
I didn't check it at all.
So it would say like training completed. Because otherwise it would be on the dev data. And make sure that you use the correct path to the best model in the config.
That I did.
Yeah, you can find the checkpoints in the X folder. Frozen.
Yeah, this. Yeah, and you can see all the checkpoints here. And sorry, can you just minimize that? So you have also test. So you can use that folder.
Test.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
This case.
Yeah.
So you see
The water rate here. And there will be like all the files. And now you might frozen it again. Yeah.
Same for everyone?
Yes, it's this EMA 25. A is capitalized.
Když říkáš přepnu se tady na ten model, kde vůbec je ten model?
Musíš si ho stáhnout.
No já vím, ale kde je?
No, tam, kde si ho stáhneš, tak tam je.
A jak se do něj přepnu? Aha, ale ty se
v konfigu si přepíšeš cestu.
No a ty, když ho, protože tady ty seš tady jakoby na open...
Yes. A tady dáš renit encoder from. This is the base model, and this is what you want to rewrite your encoder from with. So this would be the model that was pre-trained on Libri speech with the CTC head.
But yours is, the base default is just randomly initialized now, or no?
No, it's like Whisper Tiny.
So where do I get it? This is downloaded from Whisper?
This is from Hugging Face. And now we want to download the CTC model. So you use that path and you use the curl to download it. And then here you provide the path for the encoder to be rewritten with.
But the Whisper model tiny has to stay there because that's the template of...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What does it do actually? It still first loads the Whisper Tiny app, then...
Yeah. And the new repository, you can also download our models from the hub. Yes, I'm coming. jo? Aha, tenhle je nejlepší. Aha, tak tady jenom přepiš jenom cestu tam. Jo. Aha. A co to říká? A když tak můžeš kliknout rovnou tady na ten soubor a klikni na ten model Safe Tensors. Tady. A když klikneš pravý, a tak je copy path. Yes? This should be EMA 25. It's in the collab. It's EMM big A 25.
Wait.
EMM A big A, sorry. Like uppercase A 25. Uh-huh.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and they are fine. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I will update it. Thanks.
When I upload it, I get a null. Does that mean it's the wrong thing?
Did you check? There was a checkbox for Liberty Mix. Did you click on it? Did you click here?
No.
Ah.
So I'm trying to start it from the last checkpoint. Like I can't. I'm doing something wrong.
It should be working now.
No. Is what like I added this? This. Is this the latest checkpoint?
No, you should find the latest checkpoint.
Where are they?
In the exp, there is exp folder, and ls mix tiny, and here you can find.
Also, will it start doing it like from the...
Like your learning rate?
The first thing again?
Yeah, it will start training. Yeah, and if you want to continue from that state of the optimizer and everything, just instead of rain it from, use something like restart from or restarts from checkpoint. You can find the keyword in the base config. There's in the training, there should be something like restart from or rain it from. Let me see. If you go just like, I don't see it now. So maybe if you go to the source code.
Oh, source code.
Yeah. There is train.py. Yeah. And here you can see that there is something like train. This resum from checkpoints. You're welcome. Refresh. No, the first one, or the second one, second tab, yeah. So Bolaji asked me to refresh, so. Oh.
Yay! 31%.
Nice. And there is 56, nice. And also 38 from Onza Profond, but he's using the large model, so.
Yes, that's okay.
Good job, Bolaji. So can you share with others what you did, or you want to keep it as a secret for now? There is still like hour, so it's about, I guess if he wants to replicate what he did, just go ask him. And it's about him if he wants to tell you or not. And I think Dominic also said he can get 28, so you are almost at the optimal solution. So do you want to give any clues? Sorry? So I see Bolaji is thirsty for beers. Okay, so like the official deadline is over. If you not plan to submit anything more, you can play with the model or ask me any questions. And I will be here like 1 more hour, so people that still are running something can submit. And please, like if you submit, mark somewhere the time when you submitted it, so then we can add the penalty. Where is your submission?
Where did your submission go? Before you refreshed it. I just got kicked off.
Huh.
Okay, guys, wait. There might be a problem with our.
Yeah. There is a plenty of bugs, so.
Okay, Bolaji, don't celebrate yet.
So, do you know your number?
It was 521 or something.
Yeah, so please, if you submit, just remember, and I will then check it in the logs, and I can find out. I don't know why it got removed from here. Did someone recently submitted something and it's not in the list? And do you maybe have still the submission JSON? Yeah, so just keep the submission JSON, like if you would be top one and Bolaji will start not liking it. Yeah, so please, if you can resubmit it. Did you resubmit? I will check. Yeah, so let me know once. Yes. I will just check the resubmission and then I will come. Okay. You are now here. Okay. Did I remove now someone else's submission? Seems like not so. So just please keep your submission and like the TCP that you got also on your computer, so you can check them.
Maybe I can mess it up, but I started the training. I don't know what happened, but the training starts, and then when it starts the evaluation, then it starts again.
Yes, this is because you changed this FDDT per heat, right?
Maybe.
Yes, like there was in configuration there was this preheating, so it basically just runs one epoch of preheating, and then it starts like training the whole model.
Okay.
It should be that. Hopefully, can we see the config?
So is it in the base?
No, can we see the actual config that you run, or you changed the base?
I changed both. Okay, it's now here.
Use amplifiers only and epochs, so.
But maybe you changed it here.
And maybe you increased the batch size or you added some additional parameters, I don't know.
Okay, but
So basically, it will automatically restart if like your batch size doesn't fit or if you have this preheating.
Okay, but then it crashed, like saying, okay, batch size 0?
Yes, so you increase the model size or?
No, I don't think so.
You changed the evaluation batch size, didn't you? No. I don't, didn't you touch the model itself?
Maybe no, I have this. Okay.
Sorry? Úplně dolů, když jedeš, máš tam dvakrát tenhle key v konfigu. You are not using the base model, right?
No, it's just called.
Oh, it's just called base.
What is the argument?
Sorry?
What is the argument passing the YAML to enable CTC?
It's under the decoding part of the base config.
So it's decode.
Yeah, decode, and under it's like decoding CTC weight, something like that.
You're not able to beat Bolaji yet.
No, because like I was in the middle of the training and I ran all the GPs, so I just restarted it right now again. Polok doesn't like me. They don't want me to win. Fortunately, I don't like beer, sorry, but
So Bolaji, you are now running beam decoding with CTC?
No, I think it can't work because it's already more than 10 minutes late. It's like 10%.
Sorry? I can hear you.
She's from Avignon. She's here today.
Tomorrow. Today. Well, I didn't expect that, so I would need to just she was also already asking me.
Because she might.
Yeah, it might be just because I didn't try running the joint beam decoding on the T4. It might be just it doesn't fit. Because for the joint CTC decoding, you have to create the whole lattice, traverse it, and it takes quite some.
It would be just to stop by.
You should decrease the batch size.
How big is the Ventana?
I don't know how it is now because I guess they are doing something else. Exams and things like that normally should be they were closing quite early and during the summer they switched to different schedules. But then it's not even for the dinner.
It's just beer.
They have some snacks on there. They used to have breakfast and now they don't even have. They have just some nuggets and
So maybe Charlie then.
Charlie
or
three monkeys.
Three. I'll ask her. I don't know if you saw her at lunch, but she apparently fell down and hurt herself on the way here. So she's not okay. Arm hurts, neck hurts. So we can't go very far. She said that she fell down, maybe on an escalator or something, in the airport 20 minutes before her flight. So she had a choice, either to cancel her flight and have somebody go to France or show up here in Paris. So she decided to show up.
Just maybe send me an email and send it. I don't promise anything.
Yeah, no promise. I won't even tell her. If you show up, it will be a surprise.
So basically, like getting the CTC model, then removing from the config the biasing and target only, then tuning the learning rate a bit, decreasing the multiplier, then maybe also decreasing the max steps that you train for. By default, it's 50K, so decreasing it to 5 or 10K should improve your performance. And bigger batch size or smaller batch size, and like also changing the learning rate accordingly, and that should give you the best solution. And then if you like start changing the code, you can incorporate these noises, move the FDDT layer before the positional embeddings. That should also improve the model. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And then you should ask Bolaji. He has the best number now. Bolaji, come tell us what you did. Or it's still 40 minutes, so. Yes. Sorry?
How many percentage points are we taking off per 5 minutes?
It's 1% per 5 minutes. So by now it's -4 or +4. So did you hear what he did? Reduce the max steps. Because by default, there is 50K steps. So your learning rate would be something like that. So you ideally want to go to the lower learning rate, so you more exploit the, like, what's the name for manifold? Or,
So reducing the amount of access will be deployed?
yeah.
And also, it's a sticky interaction. It reduces your learning rate faster.
Yes.
So it's not so much reducing the max steps, it's reducing your learning rate faster.
It's a misleading name, yes.
Maybe Lukas can you comment on that?
No, just what? Yeah, I'm not listening. But it's not even one of the parameters that we would see there, right? So you
It's
have
in a base config. There is max steps.
Okay, so you need to open the base config and find those things. But anyway, so the max steps is yes. Because the learning rate is, the schedule for the learning rate is set up so that it ramps up the learning rate and it goes down until the last iteration. So if you reduce the max steps, then the learning rate starts falling down faster to 0. So which eventually you start having small learning rate faster, but with higher learning rate, the model is maybe training faster, moving with the parameters faster, but you want to eventually start reducing the learning rate so that it settles in some good solution. Now, right, with the high learning rate, you are shanking with the models around with the parameters maybe too much, and it is learning, but it is not settling to some good solution.
And there is also this FDDT multiplier, so playing with that should also improve.
What is that?
That's multiplier for this FDDT layers. So for the FDDT layers, you would have higher learning rate, or slower if you set it to. No. Yes. That's plus 100. So let's say you submitted 21. So you have 65. Good job.
Mark, what is bumblebee? Is it one of the transformers?
Yeah, the yellow one.
It's a yellow one,
Is it the yellow one? So the token for submission is in the notebook. It's EMA25 with the A uppercase. You can find it also here. Here is the token.
So there is the number epoch 0.67, for example. Is that, so if there is the number of epochs for training for the preheating, then this has to be 2 or?
Sorry.
Když tam je ten počet epoch pro preheating,
So this is number of epochs that you are, and
this is the real number of epochs, because it runs evaluation in like
every 200 steps.
So
this is also hyperparameter.
So I would still need to wait for 4 times longer to even start training, fine-tuning this parameter.
Oh, if you set up the preheating for, let's say, 2 epochs, then you have to wait 2 epochs, and then the whole system will start training.
And so right now I'm getting, it's actually, if I look here back, but is this water, CP water rating, should it be 0.70 something, or?
You can scroll up also the whole window.
We got 2%.
Yeah, so you have 226.
But is it normal because it was started with?
If the whole model is frozen and you are just fine-tuning the FDDTs, yes, you can get something like that.
Because they look like that at the beginning.
And also, do you have the CTC? Are you using pre-trained CTC? Okay, then I don't know. Maybe the LR multiplier for the FDDT is too big. I don't know. Yeah. So Rohan, you are still second. 3 beers waiting for you. Is anyone going to steal 3 beers from Rohan or infinite beers from Bolaji? Also, I will suggest to do like some events at the end of the week where the winners can claim their beers. We can go somewhere to the city center or nearby. And others are invited to join. Sorry? Like the whole training will take an hour. Yeah. There, once you start training, there will be something like trying this batch size, trying this batch size, and then you'll start accumulating the gradient if you cannot fit the batch size, and it will halve the batch size. But this doesn't look like you are accumulating. It's just 50K steps, so it takes some time. But it will converge in like 10K.
Might still be alive.
We can ask them, Balaji, if he can share his solution.
Well, no, I did what he.
After how many steps? No, I mean training steps, because you have to do this training steps. Slightly change the learning rate for that. And I think, didn't he say like 60K or did he say 60?
60 or 60?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't know. We'll find out.
Or 600, I don't know.
Oh, just fix this up. Sorry. There was like a Cloudflare thing, but okay.
Okay. For me also internet is not working now, so I guess it might be just the connection issue. So who is still training something? You're training? Can you raise the hand who's training something right now? Okay.
A couple of shaking hands. Decoding.
Decoding, okay.
Computing. Expecting results.
Good job. We have new second place. So you are now at 1 beer. But as it says, it will be like a liquid gold. I'm using the large model, so I think it's not fair. But still, you deserve something, so let me find out. I think 1 beer could be, we can set up the other competition, like use whatever you have, and 1 beer for the best result. Was anyone training it on this Lightning AI? No? Was it because of the libraries or? Are it?
what I thought was like you have another something that you transform and then add logic to it. You can also do that. You just transform them.
You want that? Your ID, I don't know. Oh, great job, Mark.
Immediately go right. Don't go zigzag.
So who still wants to submit and didn't submit so far? Is there anyone? I don't see submission from you guys. Well, there is none. Okay, good job. Yeah, that's a good job.
Do we have a new change in order?
I don't think so, but let me refresh. So it's still Bolaji first, Emre second, Rohan third. And special beer for Hamza Rohan. But it will not be made from liquid gold. Anyways, if you want to run something later on, just please run it and you can submit anytime. Just maybe on Sunday I will be refreshing the benchmark for the JSALT. So until Sunday it is open, and if you submit anything I would be happy.
And it will be, there are multiple data sets now, so there will be like NOTSOFAR, AMI, Libritum, iShell, polymaking, and all of them, so we can track all the submissions that we have.
Without Python, you can't have physical. So then how do you separate?
And also, was anyone able to break this? Did you try? I want to see if you can break this, like with speaking some language that it doesn't know. Yeah. Just don't upload 10 hours, please. You can try it, that should work. Or you can try to talk to it right now. Yeah, yeah, try it. Depending on what compute you have, like if you have, let's say, 48100, should be half for the best model there, so far, and the recipe is up there. You can just quote the repository setup. I will also here, so I think you can go to our offices, and there will be some chair free, and you can go there and work.
It should be okay?
Yeah, it should be totally fine. Just you need to get there, so maybe just catch someone who can open for you. Or also there is a library here. Just if you go straight here and to the right, there is a library. It should be open. There you can also do some stuff. But I mean, in the offices, people would be.
We can go to that.
Yeah. So anyone submitting? Anyone wants to submit something more or?
So in 5 minutes we close.
Yeah.
Okay. Check. Okay, guys, we close in 5 minutes. What I'm going to do is we have our speaker for tomorrow. She's already here. And maybe there's another person visiting us from Prague today, Dominik Makacek, who's not here. He just left, but he was at JSALT last year. So I was going to go with both these people for dinner at 6 o'clock. I'm going to go to the Three Monkeys, which is very close by. It's called U3 Opic, OPIC. And if you guys want, just join us there around 6 o'clock. Jan, you want to stay? You can get your beer. All right. All right. So whoever wants to join, come there. It's very informal. And I'm planning to go there around 6 o'clock. All right? Okay. So 5 more minutes, and then we call it a day. So
I guess I will also join so you can get your beers too.
Yes.
So let's close in 3 minutes and we can see who's the free. Did it rain? Hey.
Kann ich dir eine Frage stellen? Ja, sorry.
Was it zero?
Yes. I was in my mind.
I will just close the session. Okay, I guess.